the way history is taught, when you're a little black kid in the classroom and you learn about slavery, it's actually kind of embarrassing and demeaning. It makes you feel weird. And it's something that you never really admit as a black child sitting there, but you never feel great about it. You feel different
I
as a
never
little
thought
kid.
about that.
When you're sitting there and they talk about this slavery, and then they, and then we're separating Egypt from Africa and making it totally different. And so it's almost like we're in this situation where the only accomplishment we've ever made is was to be a slave. Like that's the only thing we've ever done. And it's like the way the narrative is laid out for us like that, it's real rough. So what happens is you walk down the street and you just feel like the descendant of a former slave who never did nothing. So it breaks down your self-esteem. Right. You know what I'm saying? It breaks down who you are as a man and who you are as a human being. And I think a lot of that, of course, was by design, but it needs to be addressed, because when we talk about education, it's not enough to just use the buzzword education. What is the education? What is the curriculum? And what type of history are we going to be teaching these kids so that they can move forward and feel and be filled with pride and self-esteem about who they are as kings and queens and what they can become in their lives? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a big deal. Like, it's crazy. It's foul. Like, especially, I'll tell you, I've been in both kinds of schools, right? In Queens and Long Island. So I've been in the all black school and got that lesson. And I've been in the white and black school and got that lesson. It feels weird in both places. You know what I'm saying? And when you're in the white school and you're sitting there with black and white and you learn about slavery, it's like, damn, it's like kind of like you want to crawl under your desk. And when you're in the black school, you learn about slavery, it's like, dang, man, we never did nothing. Dang. That's crazy. And then I'll tell you proof that people know it's true, because what do they ask a person like yourself or me as soon as you become somewhat successful? How'd you make it out? What do you mean how to make it out? You asking me how I made it out, so you know it's a trap then.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you created the trap music. It's like, it's a trap then. You asking me how I made it out. Made it out of where? How you know? What you mean?
You telling me so you can fix it so the next motherfucker ain't gonna be able to make it out?
I found a hole.
Yeah, you trying to plug the gap so the next one can't make it out. That's fucked up. That's another piece of perspective, man, and I think that is very valuable to view life from, man. You spoke about education, and I think this is that is key. The curriculum. Yeah, that's key. Yeah. I read Malcolm X say, anyone who allows their children to be educated by their oppressor is a fool.
There you go.
How can we create a curriculum for our children to learn from? Of course, I know as a parent, you go to school, that's, that's the bare minimum. You got to learn that shit because that's what everybody else know. But when you come home, you have a different level of education. It's a whole nother curriculum that you got to dive into. But how do we in these schools get our children educated by a respectable curriculum? Because we would never catch our Jewish brothers and sisters sending their children to a school that teaches their children that Hitler is a hero.
Exactly.
And that's exactly the equivalence of what our children are going into these schools being taught. How do we fix that?
I think it's very simple. You have to have, people have to get in a room and think about the long-term psychological, emotional, and spiritual effects of everything that they're teaching the children. Period. How's this going to affect this kid? When you try to turn, a Confederate, general into a hero, how's that going to affect this kid? Right. When you only teach this kid slavery, but don't teach them about Nubia and don't teach them about all the great things that came out of Africa and all of the
Mansa Musa
and Mansa Musa and all of that.
Nefertiti, Cleopatra. I mean, it's so much greatness.
That narrative, it's about the narrative, right? It's about all children should have the opportunity to feel like heroes and have heroes. Sure. It shouldn't only be one group of kids that get to have all the heroes. It's like, I think Black Panther shows that in a lot of ways. Like we went to the Black Panther. The thing that struck me more than anything about that amazing movie, Black Panther, was just sitting there feeling like honestly and deeply and truly, I've never seen Black people in a film like that big and promoted and looking that special and spectacular, and having to admit to myself that in my entire life, I had never experienced that. And it
That's
looked
true.
odd to me.
That's true. You
And
know
the
what?
fact that it looked odd,
The only other times, right, that I could recall a similar feeling, not the same, of course, but a similar feeling is, it's gonna be odd, but remember the time, the video, Michael Jackson and Eddie Murphy, you know what I'm saying?
Yep,
That video showed me Africa in a whole new light, you know what I'm saying? Because before then, like you said, we were taught that, you know, they were a third world country and they were, you know, we didn't see the opulence.
Exactly.
And another one also involving Eddie Murphy, Coming to America.
100%. 100%. I agree totally. That's why I think, man, look, I think that as a people, we gotta man up. It's not about excluding other people and hating other people because, look,
of course not.
There's people of all races and religions down there on the front lines getting hit with batons, catching rubber bullets, getting beat up, ran over, and everything out there fighting on the right side of history. But we as a people, we got to man up and we got to step up. That's why that was the whole reason why I put out the freestyle verse that I did.
That shit was dope, by the way.
Thank you. The reason I put that out is because, you know what? This is one of them times where there is no being neutral.
Right.
There is no Hollywood two-step. There is no, okay, I'm doing this. Let me kind of lay back and be delicate about it. And I don't want to ruffle no feathers. Man, fuck that. You
can't pay your way out of it.
You got to ride for your people, and you got to be willing to step up for your people. Like when we look, people, especially your listeners who are a lot younger, since they've been alive, they've known me, you know, even yourself as being famous and being LL Cool J on TV, even if it ain't the music, just in general, right?
Right.
But so they've always seen me being diplomatic, et cetera, et cetera. But this is one of the moments where I have to be a black man first. I got to think about my people. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be in no situation where I'm not going to walk around this country and feel like I wasn't there for my people. I'm not doing it. It ain't nothing worth that.
I applaud you and salute you for that.